Welcome back to Hardball. The campaign advertisement wars are heating up, especially down in South Carolina. So whose ads are working? And what I mean by that, getting people to vote the way of the sponsor. Bob Garfield's a critic at Advertising Age magazine. He co-hosts National Public Radio's On the Media. Well, here's a Hillary Clinton ad to start with, where she takes on the current president.
Our economy is in real trouble. And while George Bush helps his friends, the middle class gets slammed. Hillary Clinton warned Bush last March to act, or homes would be foreclosed. Bush did nothing, and 2 million homes may be lost. We need a proven leader. Hillary's emergency economic plan. Freeze foreclosures. Provide immediate tax rebates for the middle class. Create millions of new jobs. We need more than talk. We need solutions.
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
Well, look, Chris, what's good about that is that she addresses the subprime crisis that has affected a lot of Americans. What's bad about it is that two things. One, she's not running against George Bush. I mean, this would be swell if she were running against the president, but she isn't. So it's kind of besides the point. And secondly, I think from this point forward, whatever she says in any commercial, we have to presume is a lie, because she is a liar. She lied in that radio ad about Barack Obama, in which she, had him siding with the Republicans and so forth, which she knew not to be true when she ran it. That's a lie. She's a liar. So she says it's about people.
Lies is strong word. You mean if somebody gave her a question on sodium pentothal and asked her, did you or did you not believe that this guy was a Reaganite, she would say, no, I know he's not a Reaganite. Or she'd say,
exactly.
He is a and if she said he was a Reaganite, she'd come off as a liar, you're saying?
If she says that, no, I understand he's not a Reaganite, and that's what she would say because she understands that, then she misrepresented the truth. She twisted it all out of proportion the way campaign ads typically do. That makes her a liar. I don't know what other word to use.
Well, let's take a look at Barack Obama and see what your judgment is on this. This deals with health care.
My mother died of cancer at 53. In those last painful months, she was more worried about paying her medical bills than getting well. I hear stories like hers every day. For 20 years, Washington's talked about health care reform and reformed nothing. I've got a plan to cut costs and cover everyone. But unless we stop the bickering and the lobbyists, we'll be in the same place 20 years from now. I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message because to fix health care, we have to fix Washington.
It's interesting. This is a guy who is breathtakingly eloquent on the stump. I mean, he makes he sends a chill up and down your spine when he speaks. Here, on a TV commercial, that was a little stiff. Yeah. And he doesn't quite know what to do with his hands, and he just doesn't come across that naturally, which is really kind of a big surprise.
Can you run an ad like that effectively without saying better me than her? Can you ignore your opponent like he did there?
Yeah, sure you can. I mean, part of campaigning, of course, is introducing yourself to the voters, and in this case, to talk about an issue, healthcare, which Hillary probably has can stake a bigger claim to.
Yeah, but the bickering was a direct shot at her.
Well, maybe it was, but what concerns me more was the invoking his mother's death. I mean, that was a sort of Al Gore gambit, which makes me feel a little queasy. I mean, it seems a bit exploitive of his dead mother, and I just hate to see that. Let him talk about my health care problems and leave family tragedy of the past.
Yeah, but don't you need bona fides? Don't you have to prove that you're on the ground, too? And one of the biggest knocks against Mike Dukakis years ago was he didn't understand what it was like to imagine being threatened, have your wife threatened with physical harm. They didn't seem to be connected.
That's true. And, these guys want to humanize themselves, make them seem like, people like us. But, clearly that's what was afoot here. But it just makes me feel a bit queasy.
Well, I liked it because it was a young, attractive mother. I think it showed his mixed background. I think it had a lot of interesting things about it. We disagree. Here's Giuliani's ad for his National Catastrophic Insurance Plan.
Some say we don't need a national catastrophe fund, that FEMA can handle disasters. Others say they haven't looked at it yet and want to sit down with insurance companies first. Only one Republican candidate has proven experience dealing with disaster. Only one will fight for a national catastrophe fund. And only one has a plan to lower rates and fix the insurance mess. Tested in crisis, ready to lead. Rudy Giuliani, the only one for Florida.
I'm Rudy Giuliani, and I approve this message.
I don't know what to say. Rudy Giuliani, the catastrophe candidate. And, Florida.
I mean, he identified himself with the trouble.
Yeah, I mean, so maybe, unfortunately for him, they're not going to fly airplanes into the Orange Bowl, but they do have a lot of hurricanes, and he knows how to handle crisis. He is so invested in catastrophe. He's got all of his
9/11
chips
too?
there. Of course it is. It's just, on 9/11.
I also like his
South.
southern pronunciation of the word insurance. Did you catch that?
Did he say insurance?
He did.
They all pander, even if
There's nothing wrong with it. You're playing to the local crowd. I learned it was Boca Raton the other night. It wasn't Boca Raton. So you got to learn how to say Nevada too.
Who knew? But so he's got all his chips pushed on the scaring the wits out of everybody.
By the way, they won't answer who's paying for all this insurance.
No.
It's $200 billion, and where's the money coming from?
Or any of the health care plans, or Hillary's promise to freeze.
You're loading a truck in the snow up in Buffalo, and you've got to put the chains on like in the old days, and you're just going to work, and you hate work that day. It's February, it's January, it's gray out, it's miserable. And you see the people down in Florida, and you're paying a big chunk of your money, tax money, so they can be insured against hurricanes? I think you might have an objection.
You might, but I don't think that's going to run in Buffalo.
I'm not sure. Okay. Anyway, let's take a look. That's it. Thank you.
Oh, we're done.
We're out.
What a pleasure.
Who do you think's doing anything good in the ad business these days?
Nobody.
Okay, thank you. That was a good Friday response. Thank you, Bob Garfield. I love the toughness.